Hey everybody! So this week's magazine came to us and it is called All Aboard Abe. And it is our February Scholastic News magazine about presidents and President's Day. So that was this week. Remember why this week is a little shorter is because we had President's Day off of school. So let's talk a little bit about why. On February 11, 1861, Abraham Lincoln got on a train in his hometown. He had been elected president, and he was going to the White House. The trip took him 13 days, and it gave the Americans along the way a chance to meet Abe. Now, if you're interested in this video or this information, there is another fun video for you to watch. There's a game to play and a little way to practice some of the challenging words inside this article. So let's get into it. Let's see what we have here. Abe's train trip. I'm going to scoot myself out of the way over here so I can see what's going on. As we read, think about the reasons people were excited to see Abe and that train come past their house. Abraham Lincoln had been a lawyer in Illinois. Here's Illinois right there. That's where his trip began. Now he was about to become president of the United States. First, he had to get to the White House. A modern way to travel. So you have to remember, this was way back in the day. Abe's trip started in his hometown. He stood on the back of the train and he said goodbye. And then his journey began. People lined up along the train tracks and they cheered and waved. The train rushed along as it went through, let me see where it's going here. I scoot myself over here. As it went through Ohio, Abe was amazed how fast it could be going. The train was going 30 miles an hour. Today, trains can go as fast as 150 miles an hour. But back then, this was the fastest, most modern way to travel. Many people still traveled on wagons. They were pulled by horses, which were much slower than these trains. Meeting Americans. Abe stopped to give speeches and to shake hands. During his trip, he made more than 100 speeches. One story says that he was at the train station and was standing on the back of the train. He was telling the crowd a story. The train pulled away. Then the train stopped at the next station and Abe saw people running over. They had run all the way from the last town just to hear the end of his story. The people were excited to see Abe for another reason too. In those days, there were no computers or TVs. Many Americans had never seen Abraham Lincoln before. They had never heard him speak. This trip gave them a chance to see what their new president looked like. The trip, though, wasn't all fun. The train traveled through rain and snow, and Abe got a cold. He started to lose his voice, and some people just didn't like him. In one town, a boy threw a snowball at him. Abe the president. After almost 2 weeks on the train, Abe arrived in Washington, D.C. He became president. And today, people remember that he was wise and a fair president. He was also remembered as a great speaker. And here's a map that shows you the journey through Indiana, Ohio, into Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, through Maryland, and finally to Washington, D.C. On the back of our magazines, there's always a little bit more. So here is an article about Abe's childhood home. When Abe was a boy, his family lived in a log cabin. It had only one room and only one window. The walls were made from tree logs that had been stacked up, and it had a dirt floor. It was dark inside, and Abe's family got light from candles and the fireplace. Abe loved to read books by candlelight. One of his favorite books was about George Washington. So now that you've read the article with me, I would like you to go through and answer each of the questions below. As a bonus, why do you think it was dark inside his cabin? Right? I want you guys to do your best and then send this over to me. I'd love to see your work. Thanks now.